Hello and welcome to the program Inspire Children. Thank you so much for joining in every week as we are talking and discussing issues that will imprint the next generation. You know, every time I really appreciate men and women that are coming through, and it's just one sign that there are men and women that God has placed on their hearts to build young people, to build children. And I believe you and I, we are also part of that journey. One says it takes a village to raise children. And indeed, we are raising children from all directions, one step at a time. Today, we have yet another discussion that we have. And we have in the program, once again, Dr. Chichetu to help us to explore spiritual development. One thing for sure is that there is always a spiritual side to the growth of the human being. And we want to talk about that aspect and how it is important as you raise your sons and daughters, as we raise our sons and daughters, for them to be better citizens and men and women that will build the nation of Zimbabwe and that will impact the nations. Welcome to the program, Dr. Chichetu.
Thank you once again, Mema, for having me.
Yeah, so we've been exploring these different components in an interesting way, and we're building something, you know, layer upon layer, precept upon precept. And today we want to speak about the spiritual side. One thing we can't run away that human beings are spiritual. Yes. You're definitely spiritual. And you know, the spiritual aspect is something that we need to think about. Particularly when we're raising our children, right from when they're young, they're babies, until they're of age and they leave homes.
Thank you, Memo. It's interesting that you bring up the issue of spirituality. I think there is actually more need now for us to be intentionally engaging about spiritual matters with our children than before.
Yeah.
The social landscape has drastically changed.
So much.
You know, our children now, they are being exposed to so many types of spiritualities.
Yes.
You know, and access to different spiritual realms is now so readily available to our children. And as parents, we can no longer just assume they will make the right choices when it comes to their spirituality. Overall, as parents, one gift that we give to our children is their identity.
Yeah.
And as we are looking at their identity, the spiritual side of things then matters.
Very true.
It is our spirituality which primarily informs how we understand life in general.
Exactly.
So it's through the spiritual lenses that we give meaning to every other aspect of life.
Very true.
So how we pursue wealth, how we practice marriage when we get to be married, how we manage our other relationships with, be it friends, family, colleagues at work. So all of these are informed by our spirituality.
Exactly.
So as parents, we cannot then leave that dimension to chance.
Yeah.
You know? So we really need to be intentional about also specifically helping our children develop the right identity spiritually.
Yeah.
So that they can answer the question who they are, from a spiritual standpoint. Who am I spiritually?
Yes.
And what then does that mean for me in all the other dimensions of life?
Exactly.
So values, they are domiciled in this dimension.
Yes.
You know. So if we are not giving them the right values as informed by the right spiritual foundation or principles, then they are going to pick and choose whatever values they think will work for them from different other spiritual principles and dimensions.
Or they'll be mixing.
Or they will mix,
bringing confusion into their life. They are there, one time they're there and they're there. Yeah.
And what we end up with is an individual who has no idea who they are.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
So we need to understand that primarily our spirituality informs our identities.
Yeah.
And this is why we cannot leave this particular aspect to chance.
So, Doc, you know, I like the way you have really framed it, that munhu wese anofanira kuva neidentity kuti azive kuti who are they, where are they going, where are they coming from. So looking at this current generation and the dynamics that we've talked about, where do parents start in terms of building that identity?
It starts with appreciating that it's your responsibility.
Yes.
You know, we have relegated this responsibility to the church. We have relegated this responsibility to schools. You know, so it starts with us realizing that it's my primary responsibility to help shape the spiritual identity of my child.
Yeah.
You know, so I get to introduce them to God. That's the responsibility of a parent, to introduce your children to God.
Yeah.
I get to introduce them to how then do they relate with this God.
Yeah.
And what then does that mean to them in terms of how they then relate with everyone else.
Yeah.
You know.
So it forms the values.
It forms the values.
Begin to shape the values. What will guide them, or what will guide their decisions. Okay.
So this is why as parents we cannot afford ourselves not to be clear of who we are spiritually. Trust me, if we might not agree in which is the right faith, but everyone does agree that there is indeed a spiritual component to life as we know it.
Very true.
So whatever your faith persuasion, know that it's your responsibility as a parent to guide your child in how they establish that spiritual identity. You know, and this is what we just need to do.
Yeah.
For me, that has been the gap.
Yeah,
many parents have just said, this is not my space. If a child akafunza anything to do with spirituality,
they've no answers.
They've no answers. So they say, "Endono vunzani, mfundisi wako." Or kana kuwasingaende ku church, they'll then say, you know what?
Don't bother me.
Don't bother me. Zune basare. Iwo ita zuma books.
Yeah.
You know, we always then it always has to go that with us when we have no answers to answer my books. Iwo ita zvechikoro chingosiyana zvaoda kutsvaga zvakawanda izvo. You know. It's just me saying I don't know. I don't have the
answers. You know what I find interesting in the things that you're sharing, Doc, is the fact that, you know, many of the things that we are faced with is actually a greater call to adults to rework on themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, because like what we mentioned the other time, that there is a gap within us which was not filled in the past. Actually, there was a time we had a discussion and we realized there's actually our generation, there's a generation which lost parents at an early age and around 90s there, and many people, they grew up as orphans, and they didn't have enough of the parenting model in its full capacity. And from what you're saying, Doc, there's a call then for adults now to begin to reshape, relearn certain things. And when we come back after break, I want you to explore to us how then do we have the adults find their paths in order to help their children. Let's explore that soon after the break. Viewers, don't go away as we explore the spiritual component. Welcome back to the program Inspire Children Imprinting Generations. Doc, you know, we are building something here that is very critical and that is important. So I highlighted before the break that how then do adults align themselves, you know, to recalibrate, if I may use another word, realign themselves so that they're able to help. We are able to help our children and those that will come after us.
Sure. Now, Memo, there are three basic questions that we need to be able to answer. Number one is, who am I? So that's a question that you need to be able to answer if you are going to be able to minister identity to your children. So us as adults, we need to be clear as well, who are we? And that question can only be answered when you begin to engage around the issue of purpose as well. So why am I here? You know, there is definitely more to life than eating and drinking,
Yes.
marrying, having children, and dying.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm very excited that our African traditional religion indicates that.
Yeah.
Christianity indicates that.
Very true.
And these are the predominant religions in our context here in Zimbabwe.
Exactly.
You know. So those are questions that you need to be able to answer. Why am I here?
Wow.
What is the purpose of my existence as an individual? And when it comes to purpose, then I always give this example, Memo,
Yeah.
that it is the one who would have manufactured something that can fully tell you as to the purpose of that particular component or object they've manufactured.
Yes.
So for us then, it means we now need to go back to our manufacturer.
Yes.
You know, in Shona we then call him Sikawan. So even traditionally, culturally, we've always understood that there is one who created us.
Yeah.
So for us to have the best understanding of why we are here, as individuals, not as a people in general, but as individuals, you now need to go back to the one who created you. You now need to engage him.
Yes.
Why did you create me? Why? Because if we are not clear of the purpose, abuse is inevitable.
Very true.
You know. So this is why we are having chaos in our homes.
Yes.
Because we are not clear of purpose.
Where we are going.
Where we are going. Who are we, and why are we even here? Why are we even in marriage?
Yes.
You know. So that's why there's so much abuse. Why do I even have children? You know, so that's why there's so much abuse.
Yeah.
Then number 3, Memo, one needs to be able to answer to the question, where am I going?
Yeah.
If there's one thing that we are also clear about, culturally and also from a Christian perspective, is that death is not the end.
Yeah. There's more.
There is more. Death is definitely not the end. So you also need to be able to answer to that question.
Yes.
What becomes of you after you die?
Yeah.
Where are you going to spend your eternity? How are you going to spend your eternity? You know, and we understand either culturally or Christian perspective that where and how you are going to spend your eternity is informed by how you live in the now. You know, so that then also informs our conduct.
Yes.
That informs how we manage relationships with others.
Yes.
You see. So once we are clear on these 3 questions as adults, it becomes easy for us to now also engage with our children around these 3 questions, helping them establish their identity on who they are, their purpose, why are they here. And these 2, they need to be established on how God sees them, on how God perceives them. You know. Then number 3, where am I going? Where am I going to spend my eternity? How am I going to spend my eternity? So once we are clear on this as adults, it becomes easy for us to engage with our children around these 3 aspects as well.
Wow, thank you so much, Doc, for that. You know, it's very profound. I like the balance you're bringing to share with our viewers that we have many perspectives, the Christian and the African. So I just want you to explore how this journey has been for you as a father, you know, for your family, from your personal experiences.
All right. Well, so for me, it's been an amazing journey, if I should say so myself. I also come from that background where my father passed away when I was only 16. So we had never had the opportunity to have these conversations about identity, about who I am, why am I here, and where will I spend my eternity. So you know, early adulthood years, I was a mess. You know, as I tried to establish my identity. You know, so I got into different things. You know, I got into alcohol, clubbing. You know, whatever any ordinary young person can do at college. You know, for that. But then when I was 23, that's when I then made the decision to follow Christ.
Wow.
You know, and for me that was the turning point. All right. So it was from that point on that I began to understand who I am as God sees me.
Yeah.
So from that point on, my identity has been established on who I am in God.
Yes.
All right. Knowing that I'm a child of God, loved by God, precious in His sight.
Oh, yeah.
You know, forgiven.
Yeah.
You know. Then purpose. Why would God love me so much as to send His Son to die for me? So there must be a reason why God created me beyond just me
Yes.
being loved by God. You know.
Yeah.
So it also then got me to begin to want to know more about why God created me.
Yeah.
And I then understood from Scripture that indeed I'm fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yeah.
And I'm perfect for that purpose that God has created me. And you know, when you look at the conversation that God has with Jeremiah, where He tells him that I knew you, you know, before you had formed in your mother's home,
Yeah.
and I had ordained you to be a prophet unto my people.
Yeah.
So for me, that said, you know what? It means God had a specific purpose for me
Yeah.
even before I was born. So it gave me that hunger to
Yeah.
want to know more. And so I searched, I leaned in unto Him, and I then got to understand that indeed He has called me,
Yeah.
you know, to declare His word, to teach His word,
Wow.
you know, to bring hope through the teaching of His word, you know, to restore families, to restore lives through the teaching of His word.
You know, what I'm liking, Doc, about what you're saying, which I need also to emphasize, is you highlighted that your dad passed on when you're 16. And you are bringing something that I'm also passionate about, for people to know that despite the shortcomings of the past, they can pick themselves, they can find a path, they can find a place where their identity is restored. Can you talk more about that? You know, I know many of us in our generation, we went through something like that. Either it was a single parent, or both parents were not there, or someone was fostered, you know, and you know, people went through many things. The past weeks we talked about also abusive experiences that have affected people into who they are, and they keep on passing it on to the next generation. So also emphasize that so that our viewers can get a clear picture.
Yes, so for me, I had the blessing of when I then gave my life to Christ, I then had senior brothers coming alongside. So they helped me in that journey.
Yeah.
So just to say, you know what, regardless of where you are at, there are people that God has already placed on your path that are waiting for you just to make yourself available.
To help you.
Yes, to help you. And this has been the call that we've been making to the church, that there are so many young men and girls that do not have the privilege of having a parent guide them into adulthood, that do not have the privilege of having a parent sit them down and have these conversations with them. So let's have men and women in the church that are now clear of who they are in Christ, that are now clear of their purpose, stepping up. And there are many out there. So people just need to reach out, Memo. People just need to reach out. There are many that God has placed in churches, in communities, in families. Because the people that are in the church, they are coming from families. You know, it's just that we have not been able to make the call that you can reach out. You know. So what I've been intentionally doing, because of my own experiences, I do not want to wait until such a time for my own children. You know, so from the get-go, with my wife, we were clear what is our vision as a family.
Doc, I want you to come back after the break, and I want you to thoroughly disbundle this. Viewers, don't go away. See you after the break. Welcome back, viewers, to the program Inspire Children. Indeed, we are taking a journey into the spiritual aspect, how it builds identity, and how it's a call to all of us to align and impact our communities. Doc, you know, you were talking about your experience as a father, as a family. Can you continue? Unpack it.
Sure. So when I became a Christian, my spiritual identity now informed how I made life choices.
Yeah.
So to begin with, one of the major life choices that any man can make is who to marry. So even that decision had to be informed by my spiritual values and what I now understood to be my purpose. You know, so whoever I then got to marry needed to be someone who would then align with my purpose.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
so when I then got to marry with my wife, we then got to have this conversation. You know, that, you know what, this is who I am. And fortunately, she was also a Christian. She is also a Christian.
Yeah.
And our purposes aligned. So the next question was, now that it's two becoming one, what is the purpose for our family?
Yes.
So what is the purpose of us coming together?
And you are having these conversations.
So we're having these conversations intentionally.
Asma, wait a moment.
No.
Yeah.
It was
you are
very
having
intentional.
conversations.
It was very intentional. Why did God bring us together? Definitely, God would have brought me together with anyone else if it was just for companionship, you know, or intimacy.
Yeah.
But why specifically this individual?
Yeah.
You know, so we had to engage around that.
Yes.
You know, and from there we're then able to say, God, what is the vision that you have for us as a family? You know, and we then crafted that vision for us as a family. So the next step was with children now. How do we pass on this vision to our children? And we made it very clear to our children, you know, that, you know what, this is our vision as a family. Yeah. So for as long as they are still under our oversight as parents, we run with this vision. But in this vision, we are also teaching you to be able to discover God's unique purpose for you as an individual. So that when you then get to leave this home and you get to walk as an individual, you are also clear of God's purpose for you as an individual. So for our sons is when you now get also to have your own families, you are also clear about what you need to look out for in your spouse.
So you are literally modeling as well. It's not just talk. They have a template that you're providing for them, which they can use even when years later when you're gone. And
that's very critical, Memo, when it comes to spiritual development. Modeling.
Yeah.
You know, we need to model that which we want our children to catch.
Yeah.
Spirituality is not taught.
Yeah.
It's caught.
Yeah. They see it.
They need to see it.
Yeah.
You know. So this is what we've been trying to do with my wife. You know. And this has then informed our view on alcohol.
Yeah.
This has informed our view on what we watch on TV and what we don't get to watch, what we get to listen to in the home and what is not listened to. This has informed our view on how to dress. So even for our children. And we don't need, I thank God for that. Because from an early age, we would emphasize these values based on who we are, based on our purpose. If I can tell you, Memo, at one point when our eldest daughter was in grade 7, and some of her friends were having a sleepover at one of the friends' houses, she also wanted to go. And I said, no. But she said, but why? Everyone else is going. What's wrong? You know the parents. I said, yes, but it's not who we are.
We have an identity.
Yes, you know. So we've been able to have these conversations at that level.
Yes, there's so much we could talk about. But I believe what you've shared with us today is something very important for one family or one child to carry, and they'll be able to find their identity. Thank you so much for coming to the program. We look forward, definitely we have you so many times coming back with the passion and the hunger that we have for children and families. Dear viewers, thank you so much for joining us. Today we're talking about spirituality and we talked about identity. Doc really highlighted, even through his life experiences, how it becomes critical that as adults, when we understand our identity, we can model our children. We can give them a template that they will use generations when we are gone. Thank you so much. Please do continue to send in your comments, your love, your likes, your remarks. We appreciate and we take every comment seriously to ensure that we bring the relevant information to you. See you again next time on the program Inspire Children, Imprinting Generations. Goodbye.